Hey, everybody. Hope you're having a good start to the week. It's been an exciting weekend. Big basketball game on Saturday. Unfortunately, the Ducks did lose to Arizona. That makes the rest of the season a little bit tougher for them, but we'll see. Never count out Dana Altman. That's what I say. Maybe they can make a run in the Pac-12 tournament. So the final Pac-12 tournament, that is. Anyways, also over the weekend, Jabbar Muhammad, the Washington cornerback transfer, did commit to Oregon. I know that's news that most of you have seen by now, but it can't be understated just how big that is. I mean, that's another key piece. Obviously Dan Lanning and Chris Hampton and the crew saw something that they really liked in Muhammad that they prioritized him immediately going into the transfer portal. I'm not even certain that Oregon needed a cornerback, but I think they just kind of decided that having the extra depth, having a player of that caliber, both just made Oregon a better program. So, kudos to them for beating out Texas. Alabama came in late with Kalen DeBoer heading over there, trying to get him back again, but it really was ultimately an Oregon-Texas battle, and the Ducks won out, and they've got a second pure cornerback transfer coming in. Brandon Johnson, the Duke transfer, will probably fill that nickel role, which is a little bit of a different role. So you've got guys filling different spots there, and of course you've got the Jaleel Florence injury. So I think he'll be probably good to go at some point in the spring. But again, now you've added insurance there just in case. The biggest news, probably since I've recorded last, is Gatlin Bear, the five-star wide receiver, basically Oregon's lone 2024 target remaining, is trending to the Ducks. Okay, I've also put in my prediction. I know that there's 3 or 4 or 5 other predictions that have also been made from On3 and 24/7 Sports from some of the guys that matter. One of the Michigan insiders with On3, EJ Holland, predicted him to Oregon as well. So that certainly looks like Michigan's waving the white flag there and kind of conceding Gatlin Bear to the Ducks. He doesn't have a decision date, but we are just 1 week out from that second signing day that used to be the traditional signing day, which is now just kind of a quieter signing day. So looks like Oregon's the team to beat there. That's pretty good news for the Ducks, and I'm pretty sure that Dan Lanning's going to have to work on a raise for Junior Adams at this point. Holy cow. On the heels of the news of Jabbar Muhammad, at this moment, I believe Oregon's probably done in the transfer portal. I don't see any names currently in the portal that Oregon is recruiting. Now, I stress it in that regard. It doesn't mean that we couldn't see movement from Michigan players. Obviously, with the coaching change and Jim Harbaugh going to the NFL, everybody's kind of in wait and see mode there. Not a mass exodus yet there, but there's been a lot of chatter in the last few days. So I think Michigan's got some players Oregon would possibly look at, but as of right now, none of them are in the portal. And as of right now, I don't think there are any names in the portal that Oregon's currently recruiting. I think that's a wrap. We'll get into spring ball, we'll get into April, and there will be another wave of the transfer portal. But until then, I expect that portion to be relatively quiet for Oregon and Oregon fans. Lastly, this was the first big visiting weekend of the year for Oregon, kind of a quote unquote junior day. They will have another big visit weekend coming up in a few days. But the reports so far from Sean Nelson and myself that have talked to at least a dozen of the visitors been great. As you would expect, it's been great. Oregon is a hot commodity. And I can't stress enough how valuable Dan Lanning basically saying no thanks to Alabama and saying, I'm here in Oregon. The grass is damn green in Eugene. All of that has really resonated with these recruits. With college football seeing so much transformation and transition and coaching changes and just so much going on, Dan Lanning saying, hey, I'm here. If you're afraid of other coaches going somewhere, come play here. And that was a very common theme that I know Sean and I heard from a lot of the recruits, just that Oregon was preaching that. Those recruits bought into it, and just what Oregon's building, okay, from the way that everything's from an operational standpoint, just how professional it is, from the film room presentations, all of it is just running on all cylinders right now. So we will continue to, get results from those recruits. Made a prediction on Gatlin Bear myself earlier today. Also made a prediction on 2025 wide receiver Cooper Perry out of Arizona. He goes to Notre Dame Prep, which has traditionally been a feeder school to Notre Dame, as you would expect, but I believe that Oregon is the team to beat there for Perry, which would be Oregon's third wide receiver commit in the 2025 class. Again, it's time for Junior Adams to get a raise, apparently. And there's a few other guys that seem to be, itching to, really consider Oregon early on, but we're not at the stage where a massive commitment should happen in the class. So that's something that I expect to see maybe mid-March into April, and then kind of picking up more towards late April and May. So right now you're laying the groundwork, getting yourself as maybe the team to beat, or top 2 or top 3, and then you can hit the ground running again in March and April. And I expect kind of the crescendo, the big finale, to be the spring game when Oregon has a mass amount of recruits on campus that weekend. So stay tuned with us and ScoopDuck, and thank you for supporting this little YouTube adventure I'm doing. Thanks, guys.